Let's cross to France 24 correspondent Gulliver Cragg. Gulliver, what's the latest?
Well, I spoke a little over half an hour ago to the director of the hospital in Sloviansk, who said that the bombardment had indeed been extremely intense. She said it went on intensely for about an hour, and at the moment when we spoke to her, she said that 6 people had so far been taken to the hospital wounded in these blasts. I think one may presume that there are more wounded than that, so that's more than what Reuters was already reporting. That agency saying that there was 1 person dead. I mean, it's clear, and everyone was expecting it, that the Russians' main target now are those 2 cities of Sloviansk and Kramatorsk, the 2 big cities that remain under Ukrainian control in Donetsk region. Earlier today, the Ukrainian armed forces in their morning report said that they had pushed back a ground offensive of Russian forces to the northwest of Sloviansk, but clearly the Russians are going to keep trying.
Russians are going to keep trying, and the Russians claiming that they've hit the city of Kharkiv with high-precision weapons in the last 24 hours, killing up to 150 servicemen. That's a claim from Moscow, Gulliver. So the Russians continuing with the aerial bombardments.
Yes, I haven't heard about those attacks on Kharkiv. It's true that Ukrainian authorities are much more reticent to report when it is servicemen who have been killed by these long-range strikes in large numbers. They have done sometimes, such as, for example, a bit more than a month ago when a military base in the region of Chernihiv was hit by a long-range strike. But I haven't seen communications about this strike on Kharkiv. What I have heard about today in terms of strikes that have been taking place away from that main front line in Donetsk region is attacks across the border coming from Russia, missiles striking the northern and northeastern parts of Sumy and Chernihiv regions, though the press spokesman for Ukraine's border guard says that although these attacks of reasonably short-range missiles being struck across the border into those regions are happening pretty regularly, he doesn't see signs of the Russians preparing a ground offensive on those regions.
Yeah, so the Ukrainians on the defensive in the Donbas, but also there are these claims of counterattacks taking place most notably around the Russian-occupied city of Kherson further south.
Yes, the Ukrainians are making quite a lot of these counterattacks that they are staging, but we're not seeing large swathes of territory being taken back by Ukrainian forces, and by both the Ukrainians and what the Ukrainians and the Russians are saying. The bulk of both countries' military might is concentrated in the east of the country, but it's always worth remembering that there's a vast swathe of southern Ukraine which is currently occupied by Russia, which is not part of Russia's stated objective to take control of just the Donbas region. And of course, Ukraine absolutely wants to regain control of those regions. There are also reports of partisan warfare and people staging, blowing up, for example, the vehicles or buildings, attempting to target the occupying powers. Ukrainian partisans there trying to mount some kind of resistance from within those territories. But of course, it's extremely difficult because supporters of Ukraine, even just people who go to demonstrations or write something in support of Ukraine on social media, are in danger of being arrested.
Gulliver Cragg reporting live from the capital, Kyiv. Many thanks for that update.